I have arrived! Welcome back in, you guys, to another One Piece post-game video. Just in case this is your first time tuning in to one of these videos, what we like to do, I don't know what the hell that was. What we like to do here is that we like to read through the comment section of the previous chapter video just to see what everybody is talking about. And heads up, the primary focus of this video will be about whether or not Imu is coming to Elbaf or going somewhere else completely, because we did throw up a poll in the meanwhile, so this will be like a hybrid video. We'll be looking through the comment section of the chapter video as well as the poll video too. So with that being said, getting right into it, the top comment from the latest chapter says, Imu headed off to train with Rayleigh for 2 years. All right. Hear me out. First up, Imu last chapter didn't look the best, right? I will admit they did not really fight at all, but I do think they have that dog in them. If they do come back to Elbaf, they will be the ones who put us through a training arc instead. This says, I think Imu took it personally when Usopp called him a coward. I think this is half true. I've seen a lot of people echo this sentiment, and while I do think that those words might have bugged Imu, I don't think it bugged him immediately. Because get this, Usopp said, hey, you're spamming Doi Reversy, use your own 2 hands, damn it. And what did Imu do next chapter? He monologued to Loki about who the hell he is, and then he used Doi Reversy one more time. So I think it did affect him to some extent, but he still ended up spamming the move anyways. So I think it's half and half. Doi Reversy is such a cowardly ability. Glad so much that it failed me too, but not because it's a cowardly ability. Here's the thing, for me, Doi Reversy seems like a really useful skill to have. So if you have it in your arsenal, I do agree with Imu that he should spam it as much as possible. Hell, even in the last chapter, he said, hey, I expected Doi Reversy to not work on Luffy and Loki, but he tried it anyways, because guess what? Doi Reversy is kind of like an instant win mechanic. If Doi Reversy worked right there, he would have been able to skip this entire battle, this entire qualm. So I get why he spams it, but I'm also glad it failed, because for me at least, it feels like a time waster. It feels like filler or fodder control. You know, it doesn't have the same impact that it did when we first saw it like a year ago, right? At first, it was really cool, but after a month or two, I felt like it really just lost its luster. I feel like the more time we spend with Doi Reversy, the more I'm just like, I'm ready to move on to the next plot point. For me, though, I think what really could have made Doi Reversy special is if every single giant or every single person that got Domi'd had a different transformation. I think it's the homogenization of all of it that really just nulls it for me. Like, for example, go back to like the One Piece Party manga. The Straw Hats turned evil, but every Straw Hat that was turned evil was a different demon. Sanji was a slime monster, Brook was a skeleton necromancer, Frankie was a golem. There was so much variety in what they became that I found it really fascinating. I wanted to see more from them. But here it's like, oh, we're giving them horns, wings, a trident thing, and we're gonna call it a day. Dude, the wings are also semi-pointless, mind you, because while the giants have wings while they're Doi Reversi'd, they haven't really flown anywhere. They're not using the wings. Even Rocksteady Zebek, he never used the wings either. You could say he glided a little bit, but it's like, yo, the wings are just for show, man. I wish Doi Reversy had more, how should I say it? Variety to it. I wish it really just had a little bit more variety, a little bit more spice, but who knows? Maybe in the future we will get that. And if that happens, I'd be singing its praises once more. But for now, it's like, okay, you know, Chopper, come on in here and just slap some sense into these boys, man. Move the plot forward, Chopper, please! This next comment says, Imu pulled a Thanos. Fine, I will do it myself. That is all contingent if Imu does come to Elbaf or not, though. You know, like I said, I have seen a decent amount of pushback about Imu not coming here. I mean, spoiler alert for the poll video, but 1 in every 3 people that read this chapter believe that Imu is done, that they're kaput. And brother, if that is the case, again, I've been saying this for the past week now, I would be very disappointed. You know, Imu didn't even fight in Elbaf, brother. He tried Doi Reversy, he dodged an attack, and then he's just gone? No, dude. That right there would result in aura loss times 1,000. His social credit score would go down in my books. I would contact the CCP and get his ass arrested. Loki, carrying on his dad's legacy of monster in the mist. I wonder if that's purposeful. Like, what is up with that mist? Is this maybe a thing because like giant ships are just so big and you know their breath is just so hot that it causes a natural fog to just rise around them? Maybe one of the guards that Loki took with him from the castle has a fog machine? I have no idea. You know, granted, these guards knew King Harold, so maybe one of them was like, hey Loki, your dad loved mist. Maybe you should copy him. In fact, I have your dad's fog machine in the back of the castle. Let's bring it, brother. That's gotta be it, man. You know, at least for Harold, like I said, Harold, it seemed like a one-time deal, right? The mist thing just seemed like a coincidence. But for Loki, 8 years on the open season, you're telling me the mist was just always there? That's kind of crazy. This says either 3 people are going to confirm what Chopper is. Emu, Blackbeard, or the Owl. Ooh, I forgot about Blackbeard. You're so right. Yeah, I mean, Blackbeard, of course, again, Devil Fruit Hunter. He went to Drum Island for something. We don't know what yet. Could be coincidence, could not be. But if Blackbeard was after Chopper's fruit, he could tell us exactly what the hell he is. And yeah, the Owl, I mean, dude, infinite knowledge. Yeah, come on. Emu, finna hit the gym after getting embarrassed like that. Okay, it wasn't embarrassing. Here's the thing, Emu took no damage. And, you know, Doi Reversy not working, that was a part of his plan. He knew it wouldn't work. He just had to try it anyways. I don't think he needs a gym session. I believe in the Great One. This says, I don't even know why Oda didn't just tell us why it didn't work. He keeps treating these chapters as if there's 10 more arcs left. That is true. You know, we have been theorizing about Doi Reversy for so long that it's like, okay, Oda realistically could have just dropped it right here and now, and that would have been fantastic. The only way this would have a good payoff is if this is something that relates back to the Void Century, or maybe even beyond that. Like, because if it's something as simple as, oh, they're Devil Fruit users, then it's like, okay, that doesn't really matter. Like, it's cool, right? It's new information, but it's something a lot of people already expected. So Oda hiding this, I want to have faith and say that it is going to be something just absolutely massive. It's funny though, because this does somewhat remind me of the Vegapunk message, where a lot of it was just rehashed information, right? We kind of knew most of what Vegapunk was going to say. And then the one time Vegapunk was going to get to something super juicy, like, oh, the D-Clan, among you, there's... Oda cuts it off. And it's like, all right. Is this what we're doing, Oda? Is this what we're doing here, man? Blue balling us. This says, favorite part of the chapter is by far seeing my boy Kid again. He's coming back soon. I think so as well. I think by the end of Elbaf, before we leave, we're going to see Kid and Law. Will they be here at Elbaf or a different island? I don't know, but I do think that Oda will not leave us hanging for too much longer. I don't think he's going to come in next chapter. I do want to put that stipulation there, but him coming in by the end, I think that's in the cards. This says, is it crazy to think Biblo is a giant that ate a mythical Zoan fruit? I don't know, something about the way it looks, dress, and composes itself feels quite humanoid. I agree. I 1000% agree with this. So a crackpot theory of mine is this right here, that Biblo is actually a person that ate a mythical Zoan fruit. I don't know if it's a giant. You know, perhaps the devil fruit simply made a human 10 times larger. Kind of like how Loki's devil fruit makes him a lot bigger. Maybe this works the same way, and it's like the ancient owl librarian fruit or something. But yeah, one thing I always go back to, maybe I am crazy, which I think is true. But at the beginning of Elbaf, when they talked about Biblo, Vegapunk said that it's simply a theory that they have the Iku Iku no Mi. They don't know for sure. Of course, we had the whole box where it's like, oh, Biblo, Iku Iku no Mi. It's like, okay, we've never asked the owl. You know, we don't know for sure. It's not 100%. Yes, while I do trust in Vegapunk, I think there does exist like a 1% chance that Biblo ate something else entirely. And not just that, but one thing I always just found really ominous, strange, I think is a better word here. But one thing I found very strange is that every time we look at Biblo's branch, there's a chair right beside him. Like, I don't know who the hell sits there. You know, does like a giant kid sit right there and just talk to Biblo day in, day out? Or perhaps, maybe when nobody's in the library, Biblo de-transforms into his human or giant form and sits on that chair himself. That chair on Biblo's branch is just always prominent. Go back to even last chapter. We had multiple shots of Biblo's branch. And what detail did Oda draw in both times? That goddamn chair. I think that there is a chance that Biblo ate a mythical Zoan fruit. And kind of like Big News Morgans, they just don't de-transform in front of anybody else. You know, Big News Morgan's also a Zoan Devil Fruit user, but we've never seen his real body. We've never seen him unzonified. So I think Biblo could be the same way. And his powers, man, like, they're very odd. Like, oh, like the minute you walk into the library, boom, the books just get bigger. It's like, okay, like that seems weird. Why only the library? I feel it in my bones, you guys. There's something not right about this owl. This comment says, there was no need for Doi Reversy anyways. Loki tried to annihilate him just last chapter. Oh, Luffy. Yeah, okay, but that was more playful though. Okay, wait, never mind. Loki didn't know Luffy was lightning immune, so it wasn't super playful. But I like to imagine Loki believed in Luffy's strength and that he could tank a lightning blast. Maybe. Hey. They look like good friends now, though, right? They're hanging out. They're huffing and puffing together. They're talking about food. I think they're buddies. I think they're buddies. But it would be funny, though, if because they already hate each other, that is why Doi Reversy didn't work. But I feel like if that was like the grand reveal, Oda should have just told us, right? Again, I want to have faith in Oda. The reason why he didn't tell us how Doi Reversy works or why it didn't work is because the reveal is going to be crazy. Maybe I'm just, gassing Oda up too much right there, but I want to have faith, man. Maybe, since Loki can create cold air, he can produce fog, since fog is formed when the air cools to its dew point. I like this a lot. And this would primarily be because of Ragnar, right? Ragnar's the one that has the Niflheim cold abilities. So realistically, he could just simply pick up Ragnar, twirl it in the air a little bit, and then boom, a fog would form. That's not bad. I think this is a really good theory. So I gotta hand it to you, man. That is a big W if we wanted to give the fog a real explanation. This says Usopp trolling Emu last chapter about to bite everyone in the ass. I can definitely see Zoan types being a counter. They were arguably considered the least cool out of the three. Either turn into an elephant, get some awesome power, or turn into a skunk. If they are actually holding a special counter, that would be kind of sick. Yeah, because the whole thing about how Zoans have wills of their own, that wouldn't be bad. I will say, though, that Zoans, ever since Enies Lobby, were pretty damn cool. Dude, Rob Lucci, Kaku, and Jobber. Yeah, like not the most exciting animals out there, right? We got a wolf, we got a leopard, and then we also have a giraffe. But they really use those fruits well. Like they showed us the true power of those animals. And then we go over to Marineford, and it's like, yo, Marco the freaking Phoenix? Sengoku the mythical Buddha? And then we had like those 4 bozos that Impel Down who were like failed awakenings. I feel like Zoans, ever since Enies Lobby, have been pretty damn fire. And then, of course, post-time skip, we've just been seeing a lot of mythical ones. So I would say Zoans, the meta's always kind of been in their favor in a weird way. But with that being said, I will break bread with you and say that before Enies Lobby, they were definitely the least cool because we only had what? Dalton, we had Lasso the dog, we had Pell and Chanka who were also very mid. Damn, more Zoans. Pre-time skip zones. I feel like I'm just missing one more. This is gonna bother me. Okay, I'm gonna look up the Zoan list. Oh, would you look at that? I forgot all about her. Funny, I mentioned Lasso. I thought she was just always like that. I didn't realize she had an actual devil fruit. Yeah, this entire time, I thought she was just a weird lady with really sharp claws. But yeah, no, she is a mole. Yeah, she had a hybrid form too. I remember now. Damn, wow, that feels like a fever dream, man. Yeah, Chaka, Pell. And right here is where it started to get pretty cool. I mean, hell, even Marigold and Sandersonia, I thought they were awesome, dude. The whole thing where their hair turned into snakes, it got set on fire and stuff. They were fire, man. I like them. Yeah, we have the Impel Down Jailers. Oh, Dalmatian. Is it confirmed he has a Zoan? Huh. I mean, of course, he looks like a Zoan user, but, we also have, like, Onigumo, who has, like, the spider thing going on, but we don't know if that's a Zoan either. Was this guy confirmed? He ate an unnamed Zoan devil fruit. I mean, that's fair. Okay, so it's just an assumption then. Yeah, they're just assuming he has one. I would say the same goes for Onigumo then. Yeah, why is Onigumo not on this list? Let me check. What is this? Artificial devil fruits. Oh my god, look at all the smile users. Standard Zoans. Okay, yeah, Onigumo not getting any representation? What the hell? Am I crazy? Like, I feel like Onigumo should be a Zoan, perhaps. This guy, right? Yeah, dude, this guy's so a Zoan. Also, look at all these ads just popping up left and right. Yeah, if you guys don't remember, this is like the spider dude at Marineford. He's a VA. Yeah, like, look at this right here. You cannot tell me that this is not a Zoan fruit, right? Like, he doesn't just spawn spider arms, unless he has, like, a cloak that just functions like this? No. Yo, give us the Onigumo representation, brother. Who else do we have? Oh, I don't really care for Tamago. Cool devil fruit. I like the utilization of it. It was very different, where like he dies and gets respawned every single time. But yeah, it was such a weird ability though. Peckham's, yeah, he had the turtle fruit. This one, I believe, what is this? Mino Chihuahua. I do not know who this is. The newest jailer beast that impelled down. Damn! He's awakened? No, wait, what? Wait, I just forgot all about this guy. Mino Chihuahua. An awakened Zoan, what? Huh? Awakened? Wait, how do we know he's awakened? I mean, we can't really judge too much based off of this one image, right? Because, like, he doesn't have the flame clouds, but, you know, not every Zoan, even though they're awakened, has the flame clouds right away. Like, that's usually just in hybrid form. Like Luffy, for example, right? He's awakened, but, you know, gear 2nd, 3rd, they don't have the flame cloud. He only gets that in 4th and 5th. So I guess that's a thing? He also has an awakened Zoan fruit, but his personality is not lost in the process, so he mastered his fruit. Due to him being an awakened Zoan, he has increased strength, speed, and resilience. Wait, how do we know this? What? Yeah, usually the One Piece wiki, when it says something like this, there's a source. Are we just assuming? Maybe we're just assuming he's awakened. Which, I mean, to be fair, 4 out of the 5 jailer beasts are failed awakenings. So if they do add, like, somebody new into the mix, I don't blame them for assuming that right away, but I don't know. I'm hesitant to call this guy awakened. Mino Chihuahua. He's kind of cute. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, this is a cute-ass devil fruit. It reminds me of Dogman from, One Punch Man? It reminds me of that. Also, cool suit. Look, he's got the pink on. Oh, he's got headphones on, too. Damn, dude. He's rocking out to Brook. Oh, look at that. His weapon is a hangman's noose. Devastating, man. Okay, cute little guy. Sorry, we're getting, like, so sidetracked. Smiley, I thought was cool. I do like axolotls. I hate Tontatas, so I don't even count these as real characters. Big News Morgans. This is the teapot from Wano. Stussy. Stussy with the bat fruit, awesome. Pomsky, Otterfruit, kind of mid. Hound. What does Hound have? I think this is in an SBS, right? I think he has like an actual dog fruit. Yeah, he literally has the Hound model devil fruit. We never saw it. That was an SBS question. We never actually saw this guy fight an Egghead, which... honestly, if I was one of the other VAs at Egghead, I would be hounding this guy. Like, brother, at least Vice Admiral Tosa tried. You know, at least some of the other Vice Admirals tried to fight the Giants, tried to fight the Struts, and they lost. Hound stood in the background and screamed at the Vegapunk message. That is the one thing I do remember about this guy. You know, Vegapunk said, hey, the world's gonna sink. And then Hound literally fist in the air. Vegapunk, what do you mean? Oh my God. Yeah, I don't like Hound that much. Cool appearance though, cool appearance. Ancient Zones. Okay, we're getting so sidetracked. I'm so sorry. Yeah, Drake. I like Drake's fruit. I don't like Drake. Jack. Woolly Mammoth is kind of okay. Page 1, not bad. King. Not bad. Queen, not bad. Yeah, Ancient Zones in general, I'm kind of a fan of. But I feel like, you know, maybe it's just me. Some of these dinosaurs kind of look the same, brother. Mythical Zoans. Yeah, here we go. Luffy, Marcos, and Goku, Kaido. Do you guys remember when we lived in an era where Mythical Zoans were rare? Now just getting a whole bunch of them, dude. Yeah, damn. We just need, like, what? 2 more rows, and then we're beating out the regular Zoans. Wait. Oh, they put Joy Boy in the list because of Nika. Gorosei. We don't know for sure if they're mythical Zoans. That's still up for debate. But putting them on the list, sure. Oh, yeah, we even have this bottom where, yeah, Cerberus, also a question mark. Killingham definitely has one. Loki has one. And they put the War God here, too. Yeah, funny. Unknown class. Ragnar, that's mythical. Ratatoskr, come on. Oh, here's Onigumo. Wait, they put his ass in unknown? What? I mean, it's a spider. I mean, I guess it could be a mythical spider. You know what? Fine. As long as Onigumo's on the list, I'm cool with it. Okay, back to the comment section now. That was a big tangent. This says, could be interesting if seeing Loki and Luffy brought up old memories and Imu is just going back to his hometown or somewhere important to him. Oh my god, yeah. It turns into like a slice of life. Next thing you know, Imu's like walking around looking at bridges like, oh yeah, I fought Nidhogg over there. Yeah, Joy Boy, we fought over there too. Maybe he goes to Alabasta. He's like, seeing Loki and Luffy, they remind me of Vivi a little bit, or Queen Lily. Explains why Sommers is so heartless. Yeah, because of his mechanical heart. This says the owl is going to shrink Loki so he can join the crew. So while I did mention, I'm going to be harping on this one for a little bit. While I did mention that the owl's devil fruit is unconfirmed, if it is the Iku no Mi, like Vegapunk said it was, he can't shrink Loki. There was a stipulation there, and that is that the owl can only grow inorganic things. So the idea of the owl shrinking Loki, that isn't possible. Not in my theory, not in Vegapunk's theory. This would be like a brand new, ability that the owl would have. If the God Knights are rocking mechanical hearts, Kid wouldn't even have to throw hands. Bro would just pull up and Bluetooth disconnect their pacemakers from 3 islands away. He's about to become the deadliest cardiologist on the Grand Line. Imagine that, dude. Yeah, Kid, he sucks in the previous meta of One Piece. But in this newest meta, with this new patch update and new enemies, Kid has a type advantage, man. That would be absurd, and I would love it. Last one from this video. This is a big one from Majin. My guess is that Imu is coming for Vivi. He's not coming back to Elbaf because Oda just sent him back and de-escalated everything. The fire has been extinguished. The tension has died down. So him coming back after 5 chapters would be a weird anticlimactic choice. Well, okay, 5 chapters is crazy. I think when people say that Imu's gonna come back, it's probably in the next chapter. Maybe Oda does drag it along, and that would be a little bit weird. But if it's next chapter, it's next chapter, right? We don't know yet. Saying 5 chapters off rip is kind of absurd. As far as Oda de-escalating everything, yes, he did do that. But at the same time, even Oda himself, right, through Sanji's dialogue, kind of questioned it too, saying, hey, the minute we fought back, everything just ended? Like, it feels like one of those things, like a calm before a storm, like, oh, everybody's getting settled in, everybody's relaxing, and then boom, big bad villain arrives. If anything, I would argue that it'd be more weird if Imu's done. That right there would be the anticlimactic choice. Imu saying that this would be a battle that would divide the world, and then proceed to not battle at all and go home within half a chapter, I feel like that would be really, truly anticlimactic. Of course, that's more of a subjective opinion, but we'll continue. Whatever Imu was planning, he kept it a secret from the Gorosei and wants to handle it personally. It feels like something personal to him. Keeping it a secret from the Gorosei, I don't really think he's keeping it a secret. I feel like if the Gorosei simply said, hey, Imu, where are you going? He'd be like, oh, Elbaf. Or, ooh, Fishman Island, to play devil's advocate, right? I don't think Imu's necessarily keeping it a secret. I think it's more so just that we didn't get a lot of dialogue because it's the end of the chapter. He literally just said he doesn't dirty his hands. So the very next chapter, him saying, I'm heading out to fight and you minions stay here in the Holy Land, is a comical contradiction. I think he'd at least tell them where he's going, as well as to prepare for battle. This and him saying he'll be back shortly clearly means he isn't planning on summoning them. We could look at this as hubris. Him saying that he's going to be back shortly could just be him being overconfident in himself, which I think is fair. He's like the leader of the world. And plus, we could even look at it as maybe he has a time constraint. Maybe he can't leave the Holy Land for too long. As far as the whole thing about the comical contradiction, I could see that. I think that is a fair point to make. Him saying, hey, a leader doesn't sully their hands. I feel like that works in a lot of scenarios, especially when dealing with fodder giants. But this is Luffy and Loki we're talking about, right? This is Nika and Nidhogg. Maybe Imu's like, hey, I have to dirty my hands here because I know my boys can't handle it, right? Probably looking at St. Sommers and Satan Killingham. So I feel like there's ways to smooth this over for sure. He goes on and he says, yes, he attacked Usopp, but only after being attacked himself and or after all of his minions had been taken down. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? I don't think Imu is like completely adverse to fighting. I think it's more so that if he doesn't have to fight, he won't fight. Right? If he has minions around, he'll let them handle it. But again, like you said, right? Because Imu's being targeted, yeah, he fights Usopp. Granted, I think this is like a nothing point, mainly because like it has nothing to do with like this previous one. It's more so just like, yeah, of course Imu's gonna fight. He's not gonna stand back and take it. Imu already announced he's after Vivi a long time ago. And we had this plot point alluded to at the beginning of Elbaf, so we know he must search for her at some point. I agree with this. I think there's a high chance that Emu will kidnap Vivi sometime during this final saga. I think this is a very fair point. I'm using this to say that Emu's going after Vivi right now, though. It's like, okay, but how? Big News Morgans, to our knowledge, is flying around in the sky. Unless Emu has like a log pose that points him to Big News Morgans, unless Emu has a abyss circle that just spawns in Morgans' ship, I can't really see this happening ASAP. I feel like Vivi herself has to come to the forefront for Emu to take her. I don't think Emu has the information on where she's at right away at this point in time. The next point says, we need someone or something to fight the final war over, and we need that pretty much right now. And it's not the Elbaph kids. Yeah, it's not the Elbaf kids. I think that plotline definitely failed. Like I said, I agree. I do think we need a reason to fight Emu, and I think it most likely will be Vivi related too. But right now, though, I don't know. You know, I don't think we need it right now because Oda did say that we're going to find the man marked by flames pretty soon. So if they kidnap Vivi, like let's say this chapter or next chapter, then I feel like the Straw Hats would definitely detour to save her. And if that's the case, then we're not going to Lodestar, the island that only the Pirate King has ever reached. So I would just argue about like the time constraints on this. In my opinion, I don't think the final war is going to start until after we hit the next island. But of course, again, that's more so just an opinion than anything. This says Vivi is going to be the Shaki or ace of the final war. Yeah, pretty much just reiterating those points. We were given Gunko so that she informs the Straw Hats that Emu is coming after Vivi. That's whatever. This one says perhaps Morgans is gonna photograph Emu and inform the whole world. That'd be so absurd. Emu shows up, takes Vivi, Morgan snaps a picture, and then Emu just lets him go. Nah. Yeah, I mean, this is a decent theory, right? I don't think Emu going after Vivi is a bad guess, but mainly it's just not a theory that I necessarily agree with off rip. Again, I think it will happen one day, but not next chapter. This says maybe Loki's special bounty is because of the defeated Yonko, whose place Shanks took. Loki is the one who defeated the previous Yonko, but Shanks took the glory by capturing Loki, perhaps. Yeah, Loki's special bounty is so interesting. I mean, when it says special bounty, I do wonder if it's mainly because he's the Prince of Elbaf too. Like, just thinking about the other Yonkos, right? Kaido, Big Mom, Shanks, Luffy, all these other characters, they're not specified to have special bounties. I mean, even Luffy, right? Luffy, Law, Kid, they took down a Yonko. They don't get the special bounty. So the manner in which Loki got this bounty, it's got to be something unique to him. I mean, even with Sanji, right? Sanji, he was only wanted alive. And Oda never said it was special either. And it's like, yo, what the hell's going on with that? And the weirdest part is that this isn't like dialogue either. This is like the narrator box that introduced Loki. Like, oh, Loki, accursed prince, special bounty 2.6. It's like, wait, what? Like, we don't even know about this necessarily, or at least the Straw Hats don't know about the special bounty. So yeah, there's definitely something weird with it. This comment says Loki stayed in the shadows because he didn't want to publicly ruin what his father built for the Giants. Ooh, that's good. Yo, this is a good one. I like this a lot. I agree with it. 100%. Yeah, I have no complaints about this whatsoever. This comment says, it's that man going to that place to do that thing. Incredible writing from Oda again. That's kind of funny, man. Yeah, dude, Oda is just so ambiguous with the Jump Festa messages, man. You know, go back to like the Lurking Legend. The Lurking Legend Jump Festa message is like, oh, soon we're gonna meet that guy, you know, who's been lurking in the shadows. Who was it? Oda, you know, you can like come out and clarify it, man. Yeah, you know, Oda, he loves blue ballin'. You know, he loves blue ballin'. And speaking of blue balls, time to get into the poll for this latest chapter as well. Because I've seen a lot of people going back and forth on whether or not Emu will come to Elbaf or not, I did throw up a poll in the meanwhile. And as you could tell, 1 out of every 3 people who read that latest chapter believe that Emu is not coming back, while 2/3 do believe that Emu will arrive in Elbaf relatively soon. Again, I kind of hope it's just next chapter to clear the waters, but, you know, if Oda wanted to, he could just treat this as a full-blown recuperation chapter where, ooh, we talk to Gunko a little bit, we dissect Saint Somers, we lock up Killingham, you know, we put out the fires completely, we eat some food, we hang out for a bit before Emu shows back up. But who knows, right? We don't really know what Oda's going for here. And if time dilation is a thing, then yeah, maybe in Emu's eyes, they're coming back ASAP, but because we're in Elbaf, it's like, oh, it takes like 3 chapters for Emu to actually show up. You know, there are still a lot of things about this that could be thrown into question, but as far as I go, I do think it's simply that Emu's coming back here. But yeah, with that being said, for me at least, I am on the boat that Emu's coming to Elbaf. I do not think he's done yet. I think he's going to show back up, fight Luffy, fight Loki, try to take their devil fruits or just put him down in the dirt, wipe out the D clan, control Elbaf. I think they're going to go the whole 9 yards. I don't think they're going to be successful for one reason or another, but yeah, I would put down the chips and say that Emu's coming back soon. And one more thing too, but Usopp, right? Usopp hasn't had his big Elbaf moment yet. You know, people look at the whole Usopp speech and they're like, oh, that's it. You know, that is what we waited for this entire time. And it's like, guys, I don't think so. I think there's going to be more to it. And even going to Loki, right? We haven't seen his hybrid form yet. Zoro hasn't tried to use Conqueror's Haki. We were never revealed to that Sanji conversation with Scottburn about Conqueror's Haki. I feel like there's still more to develop here in this arc. So I do think Emu's going to show back up soon. How long will they stay? When will they be here? I think that is just, you know, still a giant mystery. But yeah, I'm pretty confident in the Elbaf answer. Or I guess a better way to put it is that I haven't seen any theories yet about Emu going somewhere else that have really swayed me. If I see a good theory about Emu going to X, Y, or Z, yeah, you know, I might be swayed a little bit. But right now, I just feel like the most logical answer is Elbaf. But who knows? Maybe we'll find a comment here that really, you know, swings the pendulum. This says, he really told Usopp, bet. Mu got rage baited by Gandhi Usopp. He's headed for Elbaf to get his licks in. Emu is going to break Guy Demon out of his Haki, suppressing Ancient Kingdom Barrel. Emu needs that type of strength right now. Yeah, Gaimon for Holy Night, brother. Gaimon for Holy Night. Oda is such a troll, it will probably be somewhere else. He's coming to box with Usopp the GOAT. He is going to find Flower Sword Vista, his last hope of beating Luffy and Loki. Yeah, please, Vista, stall the matchup. You know, I need this to be a 2v2, please. Emu won't leave 3 God Knights at the mercy of Elbaf. We know if one or all die, it would affect him a lot. Oh, that's true. Yeah. Emu knows that there is someone, I'm assuming he knows it's Loki now, that is able to kill the God Knights within Elbaf. So why would you leave the God Knights there and potentially take a lot of damage? Yeah, this is a really good point. And the thing is too, is that Emu could realistically just summon them back to the Holy Land, even if it is against their will. We saw that that's how they got brought into Elbaf in the first place, right? Gonko simply put her hand down, boom, Abyss Circle, here comes Killingham, here comes Summers. They were not prepared. If Emu was really pulling out of Elbaf, I like to imagine he'd bring the God Knights back home so that he wouldn't take unnecessary damage. Maybe, you know, if you want to play devil's advocate and say that Emu's going somewhere else, maybe this just simply happens off screen next chapter. But yeah, this is a really good point. This says going to Elbaf, but not arriving immediately next chapter, I would say. We got the Brook Gunko story in the intermission while Luffy gets food. Brook and Usopp recover, everyone else gets into fighting shape, or at least recuperate to some degree. I don't expect everyone to be at 100%, but they shouldn't be completely laid out. And then Emu arrives when that's over. Yep, this is how I see it going down too. And funny enough, you mentioned the whole thing about how they need to recuperate to some degree. That's true for Luffy, who needs food. But for Sanji, Zoro, Frankie, and some of these other characters, they're kind of fine, right? I think this is one of the few arcs where none of the Straw Hats are exhausted yet. You know, they have some good reserves left. So yeah, you know, Emu arriving ASAP, I think that's the main question. This could be, like you said, where we get the Brook and Gunko flashback. I would not be mad at it. Emu, bring in the gloves. He is going to go to a location where they have the Mother Flame. And this will bring down the Heaven Realm too. I don't mind this. What does this count as? He's going to the location where they have the Mother Flame, and this will bring down the Heaven Realm. I'd say this is simply Elbaf then. Yeah, I've seen some people saying, oh, Emu's going to go here, and then he's coming to Elbaf. It's like, okay. So essentially, he's going to Elbaf. Yeah. Only problem with the Mother Flame is that we don't know what its full potential looks like yet. Because while it did destroy Leloucia, we gotta remember that Elbaf is like probably 100 times the size of Leloucia. So I do wonder like how that would go down. Maybe Uranus can like size up a little bit, but we will see. I mean, hell, even if the Mother Flame weapon can only shoot out Leloucia-sized blasts, that still would do a lot of damage to the tree. Yeah, you just hit the tree down the middle, boom, all the branches start falling apart like a Minecraft block. This says, I think Emu is going to Elbaf and will use the ancient weapon, Laugh-Tail, to spawn camp the enemy. This would be awful. Laugh-Tail to spawn camp. No, this is a no. This is a no. It's funny because usually I'm like, oh yeah, I could see this, I could see this. This one I genuinely cannot imagine happening. Because here's the thing. This hinges on whether or not Emu knows where Laugh Tale is. That's the first point. Second point, this also hinges on Emu believing that Luffy has all 4 road poneglyphs, that he'll find the man marked by flames, and then arrive at Laugh Tale soon. You know, the way Emu worded it, they were like, oh, you know, I'm gonna leave for a short while. Dude, who knows how long it's gonna take for Luffy to get to Laugh Tale? There's a chance. I mean, hell, it happens in most arcs. There's a chance the Straw Hats stay in Elbaf for a full week, partying, hanging out, training. And then what's next? Oh, they go to Lodestar, and then they have to look for the man marked by flames, and then they make their way to Laugh Tale if they don't want to backtrack. Like, dude, if Emu goes to Laugh Tale, who knows how long they would realistically have to wait there. So I don't agree with this one because it would just be really bad from a min-maxing perspective. Like, dude, Elbaf has an abyss circle. Emu could literally just snap their fingers and just spawn here. You know what I mean? So Laugh Tale, we have to like make assumptions that Emu knows where it is, that they have an abyss circle, and I don't know. Laugh Tale is just a really tough one to sell. Kudos to you though, brother. Kudos to you. If Emu goes elsewhere, I might actually need to be put into an asylum. Our battle shall divide the world. My bad, gang. I forgot I had prior plans. Hey, I have dinner at 6. I actually gotta go. No fighting, man. I was just joking. Battle? A battle of wits, more like. Ha ha ha. Dude, that's so funny. No, you're right. You're right. You know, again, I put a lot of stock into this line right here. Like the battle that will divide the world. Gang, there was no battle at all. Probably going to go to Elbaf, which is funny because the Holy Land is in rubbles besides the main castle and currently is on fire. I don't think it's currently on fire. Based on that, you know, final page, it looked like the fire has been squared off. We're simply looking at the ruins of the buildings. The sound effect in the background was like a swooshing sound effect. So I don't think the fires are roaring anymore. And of course, I mean, the Gorosei are there, Shamrock's there. I'd like to imagine if I had a crew, pirate crew, god knights, whatever. If I had a crew, I'd like to imagine at least a couple of them could handle a fire. Especially if the fighting is over. Maybe that's just me though. Emu is mad that Luffy and Loki jumped her. Each arc builds on the other. If Elbaf ended like this, then it'd be a massive blue ball. So of course Emu's coming to give Luffy a much needed humbling so he can improve for the final arc. Yeah, I think this is where I stand too. And you know, I brought up this reference in the review video, but I do view this as like the beginning of Wano. Like, oh, here comes Kaido showing up to Okobore Town, and boom, he beats Luffy, and then Luffy needs to level up. I could see the same thing happening here. Emu shows up, he whoops Luffy and Loki a little bit, then he leaves, and then boom, Luffy starts training again, and then he gets that final power up. I just feel like this is Shonen 101. I could be wrong, of course. Maybe Oda's going a different direction, but I feel like we need that, though. We need to know why Emu is one of the final villains. I think it'll be somewhere else. Somehow, it feels too early for the real Emu to fight these two. I think it's enough that Luffy knows Emu exists for now. I don't even know if Luffy knows that Emu exists. Like, from our perspective, of course, we know that that black mass is Emu, but for Luffy and Loki, to them, this is kind of just Gunko fighting, right? This is a weird Gunko ability where like a black blob spawns out of her stomach. I feel like Luffy doesn't really know his enemy right now. I think he needs a taster of it. I think he needs a taster. Emu needs to lock in and give us a strong showing before the arc ends, given that they are portrayed as the story's final protagonist villain. Clearly, Emu is meant to be intimidating presence, yet so far, the God Knights haven't done a great job of representing the current king of the world. Yeah, they're ass, dude. So I do think Emu coming in, locking these boys in, showing us why they're the leader, I think it's somewhat needed. This says, all love of Usopp, mouthing off, fight us yourself, wimp, paraphrasing, is what makes Emu think, screw it, I'm doing this myself, and show up. I said somewhere else, the only way I see Emu coming back actually working is if they have a little training arc while Emu travels there, question mark. I don't know. I won't be happy if the tension is artificially jacked up by Emu returning. Artificially jacked up. I don't know if I agree with this wording. I mean, we already knew that Emu was that guy, right? We expect Emu to be powerful already. So the tension being jacked up artificially. I mean, even within Gunko's body, we still kind of assumed that they were already, you know, quite powerful. So I think I mainly disagree with this wording, but I can see where you're coming from. But my argument against this first part, right? Like the whole little trading arc, is that I don't think the Straw Hats have really seen anything in Elbaf that would push them to have a little training arc. I would say that the difficulty does need to be raised so that we do train. Because right now, we handled everything very aptly. You know what I mean? So I don't exactly agree with this. Emu is coming back to crash their end of arc party in Elbaf. Emu truly got hit with the Reversy as he rage baited rocks into his defeat. So did Emu fall for the rage bait of the Sniper King. I reckon either Elbaf or the Florian Triangle. Okay, look at that. Or the fresh hole to hell made in Lelucia. Okay, this is what I was looking for. I was looking for another idea. You know, I've seen a lot of comments saying somewhere else, but rarely do they mention where. This is not bad. Yeah, Florian Triangle, this is a weird mystery that Oda did throw in our face during the King Harold flashback. We had the name drop of the Florian Triangle monsters once more, so this would be interesting. Yeah, Florian Triangle, and then Lelucia, right? Lelucia Hole, man. We need Jinbei to go down there. I'm thinking Laugh Tale. Emu's gonna materialize in front of the One Piece and read Joy Boy's words and say something snide. Gotta freshen up on the prophecy, have a trip down memory lane to see how to combat Luffy and Loki. Dude, if Emu needs to go through like a little mental training arc to fight Luffy and Loki, that'd be so sad. You know, at that point, Emu's like the underdog. And, okay, this is better than the last Laugh Tale comment, mainly because you're not saying he's spawn camping. You're saying he's going there to read Joy Boy's words, and I don't mind that. I do think I like this version of the Laugh Tale theory more. I still don't necessarily agree with it, but I do like it. I do like it. I like where you're coming from, brother. I think Emu is going to get an ancient weapon or something that they used in the past to defeat Joy Boy. Emu is going on his training arc to dust off the cobwebs. This says to give Zunisha new orders. They are going to need ancient weapons for Loki and Luffy, and that is how we end up back in Wano. Emu ordering Zunisha. I don't know about that one. I don't know if Emu can order Zunisha. Voice of all things, I bet Emu does have, but being able to command Zunisha, not too sure. I mean, to be fair, Zunisha seemingly took orders from whoever could talk to him, so maybe. But I like to imagine that Zunisha wouldn't work for Emu. Zunisha feels like a Joy Boy ally more than anything. This last one, we're gonna stop it right here, by the way. We're going on for a while. This says, my theory is that he's going to find the Galley Law Giants. Galley Law Giants? Why? Because if you find the Galley Law Giants, it's not like they're going to immediately follow you. So, I mean, I guess Emu could, like, show up, thaw them out, and then force them into manual labor. I guess that wouldn't be awful. I mean, we've seen that before with Skypiea. Anel kidnapped the former priest of the island, and he made them build the Arc Maxim. So, Emu getting the Galley Law Giants and putting them onto a similar mission? Yeah, I mean, the parallel is there. You know what? The Galley Law Giant route, I don't think it's awful. Yeah, I think that's a decent idea. I'll give flowers to that one. But with that being said, though, guys, let me know your thoughts on all of this down below. Hopefully, we see Emu next chapter. You know, I feel like this is a mystery that needs to be tackled ASAP. You know, I feel like this is just something we got to rip the Band-Aid off of. And we got to remember, next chapter will be a break week chapter. So Emu showing up, I think, would just make a good cliffhanger. Could be wrong, but we will see, brothers. Let me know your thoughts on all this again down below, and I'll catch you guys when the next chapter drops. Peace out, stay safe, and thank you guys so much for watching.